President Obama came under fire for saying this at the National Prayer Breakfast last week.
And lest we get on our high horse and think this is unique to some other place, remember that during the Crusades and the Inquisition, people committed terrible deeds in the name of Christ.
As you can imagine, a lot of Christians were offended by the comparison to ISIS terrorists. The remark got a lot of reaction on the Sunday shows yesterday.
The week after a pilot is burned alive and a video shown, you don't lean over backwards to be philosophical about the sins of the fathers.
I'm totally pro-Obama on this. I think he said the right thing. Listen, it was a gospel of humility. So while we exercise hard power, we have to take morally hazardous action. We're going to be prone to get caught up in our own self-righteousness.
The problem with Obama making this statement is that he doesn't make the follow-up statement that I always do. We did it then, they're doing it now.
This president has a high horse himself. It's his teleprompter. And what was shocking about this speech, this wasn't an ad-lib, off-the-cuff remark. This was scripted.
You know, this is a great point, Bowling, because this is something that they prepared. It's not like, oh, off the cuff, answering a question at a round table, etc. It's troubling.
Well, actually, they came the White House after unexpected. Didn't expect the criticism. Okay, then the next day in the New York Times in the morning, on background, senior administration officials were trying to explain what happened, and they said that line, that they said he ad-libbed it. Okay, so the New York Times, who always makes fun of amateur historians, then is trying to help the White House clean up the mess the president caused by being an amateur historian and ad-libbing something that he should have had taken much greater care in saying.
If that is even true. Maybe they realized the fallout from decided it was ill-advised. I mean, I don't trust anything they say. I believe this is his core ideology. It's what he believes. He was not equivocating. He was quite certain and sure-footed in his comments. There you go. I think that's the truth.
When it happened, and there was a day or two, we kind of talked about it a little bit. You just saw this thing. I saw this clear as day that this was going to end up being a huge issue for President Obama, whether he ad-libbed it or it was scripted. It didn't matter. He delivered it. He delivered it at the prayer breakfast. 2.4 billion Christians are offended by that, with the exception of Brooks, maybe, perhaps. I'm not sure what his religious backgrounds are. But it took time. That gag reflex by the left to protect everything Obama says is starting to subside, and now they're realizing what he said. He compared 900 years ago Christian events that happened at the Crusades to ISIS, and somehow, so it's not only comparison, it's somehow explaining why ISIS is doing what they're doing, because it happened in the name of religion 900 years ago. Therefore, it almost excuses some of the background. In the name of religion in defense of lies. Right, and it's just so egregious. And it will continue. It's like the Brian Williams thing. It took 12 years or whatever it did, but finally it's catching up to him. This will stay with President Obama for a long time.
2016. Greg?
Well, okay. You got to understand the singular perspective of a progressive, which is it's always about the power versus the powerless. And the power are the countries with land and with armies, and the powerless are those the freedom fighters. They call them freedom fighters. We call them terrorists. And that informs a reluctance within all foreign policy areas. If President Obama essentially is a magic 8-ball in which every answer is it's your fault. He is a left-splainer. On every issue and every contemporary threat, he educates you from the perspective of the left, whether it's terror, whether it's environment, gender, race. It's always going to be your fault. We're on a high horse. He's just high.
What does that mean?
What?
We need to get on our high horse?
That means that we're being self-righteous about our religion. By the way, I'm not religious. I was bothered by this whole thing, and I don't even have a horse in this. I don't have a high horse.
You don't have a horse in this fight?
I don't have a high horse in this fight.
I
have a tiny horse.
You have a unicorn.
I have a, yes.
You have a My Little Pony in this fight?
First of all, you say he had an 8-ball to hide behind? Is that what you said?
No, the magic 8-ball.
You know the little thing you shake and it has an answer?
Bob, this is your opportunity.
I just said that. You know what this looks like to me? It looks like a biblical thing. It says an eye for an eye. The problem is the eye for the eye happened. Usually that means if you got hit by somebody back during the years of Christ, you hit somebody back. I'm not so sure you look back 800 years and say, well, that's gun, uncle, great-great-great-great-great-uncle hit me, so now it's time to knock him down. Doesn't make any sense. And I get back to the point. These are evangelical Christians, man. You do not say that kind of thing.
But he was left-splaining. That's what he was doing.
There was one of the professors in the New York Times article I mentioned. He said, sometimes you can be so open-minded that your brains fall out. I like that. But I also agree with Andrea Mitchell, I almost say Andrea Tantaros. When Andrea Mitchell said that you should focus on the fact of this pilot, President Obama could have said, look how far we've come. Mm-hmm. Our alliance is with the Muslim pilot who was fighting against the evil. He didn't do that, though. And he could have said, that's where we are with them, rather than putting all of us against each other.
But the prayer breakfast was not a bug in the machine. It's the machine.
That's the point, because guess what? Who's his guy? Who's his brethren? Jeremiah Wright. Chicken's coming home to roost.
No.
Ahead, new developments in the Williams War story scandal. So happy that was my block.